Hey guys, what's going on? We got another Enhancement Shaman PvP video. We are in the solo shuffle at about 2200 to 2300 MMR. But first I just want to say thank you all. We hit 1,000 subscribers, which is kind of insane. Um, but yeah, it's all thanks to you guys and I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And I hope you continue to watch and enjoy these videos as much as I enjoy making them. But anyways, let's get into this. So we got the Enhancement Shaman, which is me. We got the Beastmaster Hunter, Demo Lock, and Assassination Rogue. You'll also notice that I am playing Elementalist. I know some of you are probably like, oh god, but I've been finding it working the best, and on my alt I am going to continue playing Storm or with Stormbringer or Totem. And I just want to see how the two compare within the season. But anyways, let's get into this. So our main priority is going to be on the Demo Lock, although if you know Warlocks, they like to port and move around pretty fast, but in big leaps. So when he ports to the starting area, I don't really want to follow him, especially when there's a rogue, because I don't want to get locked down behind there. So rather than follow him, I'm just going to hit the rogue. So you can see here, he runs away. So I just go ahead and start hitting the rogue as hard as possible. And you can see he's taking a significant amount of damage. And here I kind of back off because I know I'm disarmed, I don't have much, and we're kind of falling apart a little bit. So here the rogue gets bubbled, the warlock pushes right back in, so I start getting him. I see that we're taking a lot of damage, so I use Stone Bulwark Totem just to kind of help the healer out as much as possible. And the rogue's starting to kind of push onto the paladin. So here I'm going to get bopped, which is fine, but that tells the rogue, okay, I'm just going to hit the paladin now since he's struggling. So here I try and shut down the warlock, but then he Undying Resolve, so I can't do anything. I should have ran behind the pillar and lassoed. So right here, I'm going to lasso. He goes ahead and trinkets. The paladin gets the Hodge off. I should have knocked the rogue away because then we wouldn't have been double silenced, which was quite unfortunate on that part. Also, I didn't have my Bloodlust macro set up for the hunter, so it was a bit of an issue. So onto this next round, it's me and the Demo Lock versus Assassination Beastmaster. So for this one, kind of the same concept. I do want to hit the Beastmaster Hunter, and but I don't want to let the rogue off the hook, right? Rogues are very squishy, so you can see here a huge amount of damage. I can't really chase after the hunter because he's running away, so I just switch over to the rogue. Also, I am running Grounding Totem to try and catch his ice trap, so you would have saw that at the start when I was stunned by the pillar. As soon as I came out, he was running at me, so I dropped Grounding, caught the ice trap. Very lucky on that part, it didn't go off. But here the rogue has no defensives left, and we push in. Huge amount of burst here, gets a nice stun from the warlock, and we just finish him off real fast. The warlock also got a really good fear on the monk. It's quite huge. But here it's me and the rogue versus hunter warlock. Same concept as always. Go on the warlock, hit the hunter if the warlock completely teleports out, but we can jump into the starting area with him. The reason being is they don't have a rogue to lock us down. So here the warlock gets, or not the warlock, the monk gets hodged, but we're not in any danger. We were sitting in line of sight, forcing the hunter to either come to us or do nothing. So here they start getting a whole bunch of damage. The monk gets feared, but at the same time, I didn't really feel like I should have tremored there, mainly because we weren't taking a huge amount of damage. It was a trap afterwards that kind of got us. If I had tremored that fear, I felt like he would have been stunned and then trapped afterwards anyways, so, but it is what it is. So we have tremor for another fear. So here we start pushing in, getting a huge amount of damage onto the hunter. He has his defensives down, so now we're going to switch over to the warlock, doing as much damage and forcing the paladin to kind of double heal. So here he gets bopped, so I'm going to spam purge as fast as possible, trying to get that bop off, finally get it off, continue doing damage, huge damage. And he didn't get off another fear, I don't think. He was going to, but I didn't end up using it. So on to the next one here, we got me and the Beastmaster once again versus Warlock Rogue, and I got the Rogue at a stun. He goes ahead and cloaks instantly, which is kind of a shock to me. I don't understand that Rogue mentality of cloaking the very first thing that happens to them, but he did anyways. So here I'm attacking the rogue because he wants to play on top of my healer. So I just go ahead and start wheeling on him. There's a defensive from him as well. I think he got bubbled or something, or restoral. So I switched to the warlock, trying to get a bit of damage split. The hunter's doing a significant amount to this rogue, just absolutely destroying him. I see him get stealth, so I drop cap totem, move it on top because he vanished, and then I was able to get a stun off on him. So I continue getting damage, back off a little bit, go for the hex, get a full hex, or half hex I think it is, which is pretty good pressure right there. The rogue has just used evasion, so that means he's a free target after he's done. So here I switch to the rogue because I don't really feel like chasing off that warlock. So we get a huge amount. There I get a bubble, I think it's the monk bubble or something, or is it stone bulwark? Is my stone bulwark. And here we get a huge shutdown. Nice leg sweep by the monk, forcing a bot. So I go ahead and purge it off, and I just continue hitting this rogue. The rogue is taking so much damage, he's got nothing left in him. So bloodlust, big damage. There's his shadow meld, which is overpowered. So we're getting prepped. There's sacrifice. There is the kidney, but the monk saves me with his bubble. Thankfully, that would have been very scary. And then we start pressuring the rogue even more. Cap totem, both DPS, they can't do anything. Go for the hex, get kicked by the rogue. And now the hunter's going to push on top of the paladin, get the CC, there's bubble. And then we're just going to continue damaging this rogue as much as possible, not giving him any chance to breathe, and he finally falls over. Chasing a rogue is definitely a nightmare, especially assassinations, because they're slow. It is definitely a pain in the butt. So here, once again, me and the rogue, we're going to push in right on top of this warlock. I'm going to be careful of my totem. I don't want it to hit the monk at all. So I go ahead, root everybody, keep them all there, drop a cap totem. I know it messes up. You don't typically run cap totem when you have a rogue. You want the rogue to do all the CC. But there I felt like it's probably good because you're stunning every single pet as well, and the hunter too. So there, we're getting a huge amount of pressure. We get a lot of pressure here actually. Undying Resolve and Death Pact from the warlock, and he's going to port here in a second. The hunter is also playing right on top of us, so he's a very easy target for us to catch. I go for I'm trying to bait out kicks so the paladin can cast a lot easier. It's not quite working. Here we get the hex, full hex off. He has to trinket that. Boom. Rogue blinds right after he trinkets. Huge pressure. The hunter is also kind of falling just from the rogue's passive damage. I haven't really done too much to him. So here they start getting a huge amount of damage onto me. I don't have anything other than stone bulwark, but the paladin's able to pick me up. So here he starts casting fear. I go ahead and interrupt it. That's what I'm looking for. The hunter's on me. I use primordial wave. I hit him with the flame shock so he gets hit by it. But here the warlock pushes right out. So I'm like, okay, hunter's right on top of me. I'm going to start hitting him, putting a lot of pressure on him. The rogue is doing a good job getting on top of everybody, to be honest. He's doing so much split pressure, and all I got to do is focus pressure. So here he gets a full kidney on the monk. I was going to go for a hex, but he used his port and a stun thing to get away. And I had tremor down so the warlock couldn't fear us. Drop cap totem so that way I can get stuns on all pets. And here the warlock ports out, but the hunter's still on us. There's turtle, there's bubble. We got almost everything. Everything is almost gone here. We just have to get through restoral or revival, whatever it is. So here we're putting a lot of pressure on the warlock. Almost down. There he goes. He walks into my totem and takes a hit. Also, I just noticed that my combat text isn't on. I turned that off for mythic rating because we're on Ovanax and it's huge amount of numbers going on there. So here they're going to push in, get a sap. I drop a root totem on top of my healer because I want to get this rogue out. He's always going to go for a sap on my healer. So if I drop a root totem on him, he's going to be bound. There's a very high chance he's going to get pulled out. But anyways, same as before, BM versus an Asa, we're going to hit the rogue as much as possible, but got to be careful. I wall very late here. That was a big issue. I should have walled much earlier to kind of save the monk from panicking. But here he gets blind, so he goes ahead and trinket sap because everybody knows like blind and trinket kind of line up. But here I go ahead and lasso. I got disarm. There's nothing else I can do. Might as well lasso, force him off. There, I hex the hunter, but it kind of broke. I think the warlock just swapped to him, which is fine. I was just trying to stop a little bit of damage, but didn't quite do too much. Also, against hunters and demo locks, you can drop your root totem down a lot to root the pets. It's good practice to get used to that because their pets are a significant amount of damage to them. So I saw the monk get CC'd here, so I go ahead and use my stone bulwark to make sure I don't force him into any panic situations. Here, the warlock starts taking a lot of damage. There's the bubble from our monk, and here we have a good window to whack this rogue into oblivion. So here, cap totem, double stun on the DPS, huge amount of pressure on the rogue. He's almost there. There's his shadow meld. I go for a hex on the healer. He dips out and back in, and I was able to get the hex off, thankfully. Nobody could stop it. So here, everybody's low. Doesn't matter what we hit right now. Everybody's low. Nice stun onto the rogue, and he gets away. So I kind of root them back there. I don't want him getting a restealth. If he gets a restealth, that's a huge issue because that means it's a big garrote window. So here goes for Tears Deliverance. I go ahead and interrupt that, but I don't push in because I don't want to get caught behind that pillar. If I get caught behind the pillar, forces the monk into a bad situation, right? So you have to be very, very careful about that. So you can see here, the rogue is putting pressure onto our monk or the warlock. The hunter's pressuring the monk by forcing him into CCs. There's a disarm. I see them setting up for a CC situation, so I go ahead and stun the two with cap totem, making sure we get that. Get a hex off on the healer, but he has sacrifice, unfortunately. So here we have a lot of pressure. Anybody can die at this point. So we kind of push in just a little bit. The hunter's peeling out slightly, so I just start hitting him. I'm hitting the closest target. I just need to do damage to keep this paladin from topping everybody. And the warlock is doing a great job at keeping this rogue in combat as well. So the hunter's pushing in, trying to get CC onto our healer. They kind of miscommunicate and they break a blind. It gets very, very close, but we're able to pull it off, and that's it. But anyways, guys, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Laters!